I think everyone gets to that point in their building careers where they look at their old builds and they go, this build's a little bit tired, a little bit old, a little bit in need of some love and care. So welcome to this video where I'll be going through rebuilding an old build of mine. Behind me is Sway Tower, a build that is now 4 years old and on a server like ours is definitely showing signs of not really fitting in anymore. So let's get started by moving this over there and having a little go at bringing out a few of the main details. Well, let's get started then by having a little look at what we've got and what we should have. So with this white wall here, I'm going to measure out the width of what the new building should be. So I've just measured it on Google Maps and I'm using a scale factor of 1.25 as that's kind of what we do on the server, and it comes out at just over 5 because you can't really do half blocks, although some people do, and some people do very well make buildings on here using half blocks and such. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and we could ultimately maybe put some walls upside, or maybe even trapdoors. Oh, I'm getting ideas already. So it came out at 4.25 meters wide from a quick rough Google Maps measure, which then translates to this. So we're going to go for 5 blocks wide, possibly. I have just had a good thought there. We might even put some perch. So the whole thing is going to be this colour still. I think the texture and the design of the building should carry on being that, because in real life it is that sort of yellow. How wide is that? They're 0.8, aren't they? So saying 7, but yeah, that actually is technically the right sort of size. Now, the tower itself is measured at 66 meters tall. And that would calculate to 82.5 blocks tall using the 1.25 measurement. So if I stack this up 81 blocks, we get the building height. What? Okay, so already we know this old building was not tall enough. No wonder it looked a bit odd. So what was this building measured at down here on the base? This was 7 blocks wide, which means this looks like it's about 9 blocks wide. Now, that kind of works. We could always reduce this down to just a 2-block center. I'm trying to think of like ideas for just things. Now, the way this works is this doorway can at least open up like this. I think if we go along with what we got here, there's like a little indent. We will build up to it. It's not going to be like this. Anyway, I'm just having a lot of fun thinking about what I can do with this now. Ooh, that could work. So this section here is a doorway that has like a Gothic arch around the top. It's very pointed, and I think if we make it, it's very tall as well. So this is what we're looking at here, and it's a very wonky picture. You can see, so if this is 1 block wide, that's also 1 block wide, and then this is like 1 block wide as well. So I'm thinking that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 up on the top. It's very pointed. Now, I don't know if that's even possible in Minecraft, along with these points here. This one looks like it's a bit more obtainable. I don't know if you guys have seen recently, but I'm trying to get back and building real life buildings and the whole malarkey that comes with that. So the Bricks to Block series is kind of where I'm taking myself back to now. And this is a little series that's going to be a bit of a precursor to it. That's not too bad, is it? So we're not going to build it completely 100% accurate. What's going to happen is I'm going to have ideas and designs as we go on, either based on the one next to it or the real life reference. Just try to figure out how to do this really pointed bit. So I had kind of thought about maybe using levers and such. So I'm just editing them into the right place. So moving one back. I'm not quite in the right position. I'm still trying to get used to my new... Okay, so we can't do that. So what we could do is we could debug this such that that's low and this bit is high. Yeah, because we were going to get rid of the up, weren't we? It's definitely taller than... So I said the door probably needs to be about 5 blocks tall. That is 5 blocks tall. Okay, I think we're still within like the height scale of it. So already I'm kind of like, I'm going to be mixing in, I think, a bit of birch, a bit of sandstone, but also like these jungly colours we've got here. So I was just going to have a look, see what this might look like around there. I think I'm happy with that. Obviously this is going to look a bit different once it gets some colour on it. I've put a couple of levers there just to try and hoist that section up a little bit higher. It's here that I think it's going to cause a bit of issues. Not entirely sure what to do with that area. Again, might just do this, stack 1 down, stack 1 down again. But as we go through this, I'm going to be learning some bits and bobs about just techniques as well. So I don't know if you know, I've been kind of taking a break from building for a little while. And we got that lever and stuff going around. Yeah, for what it's worth, I think that works. Now I've just seen we got some terracotta pots down the bottom. We can use the new pots from the update. So you can see that the tower itself looks like it's going to be 7 blocks wide, which is fine because it's got an extra bit here and an extra bit on the other side. Plus we've got the octagonal tower around the side there. So for this here at the front, I've just tried something out with, you know, dripstone and debugging it into place here. I was just kind of wondering what it might look like as a base for a couple of trees. Do you know what? I don't hate that. I know they're off-centered, and it's a shame you can't just rotate them around, but there's the front door. It's definitely looking, well, already it's night and day compared to the old one, completely. It's a bit odd how different it looks already. So how long did we make this? 11, and we made this 9 across the front, didn't we? 7 across the front. So 7 to 11 is the same as 5 to 9, which I think this is 9. It looks like it might be 8. It's 7. Well, it's okay. Well, that doesn't matter where it is. So we've moved that 2 blocks to the left. So you can see here we've got 2 little windows. We'll probably do those 2 block wide, and then we've got this very big thick cornice. Very big thick cornice. And I'm going to put these little drain pipes in a second. I think that kind of gives what I wanted. If I just remove these 2, what happens if I put? They can be rather annoying. No, that's not going to work. But I don't know if stairs was going to work either. So many different design choices, and there's so many ways of doing the same thing. And that's what you'll find quite quickly in Minecraft. If this is your first time of building anything, that's never going to work, was it? But give it a go. Always play around with some ideas. You never know what's going to happen. Alright, I think we'll just stick with that. That's fine. Okay, so that's the edge of the building there. There was, down the middle, a drain pipe. So for drain pipes, what I tend to use is a selection of blocks. I like dark oak fences. They always seem to work quite nicely. And then sometimes put in like a cast iron water catcher at the top. And for that I tend to use a polished black stone. Now this is something that dates back a very long time, at least until when 1.16 came out, when those got introduced. Right, well that's one side of the building done, I would say, at least most of the way there. Now it's time to figure out, I'm just going to flip this round, but then it's time to figure out the size of the rest of the building. So it seems to be a square. I say seems to be, it is a square. So it's a 7x7 square. Was this ever built as a square? It was, okay. That's fine then. So it's a 7x7 square. Again, let's take a little bit of inspiration from the one I've got next to me. So we had, oh dear, that really, no, that was so chunky, wasn't it? Using oak wood, stripped oak wood as the indents. I think we're going to have to try and use stairs and walls. Walls definitely, like we've done here, with that texture behind it to give it a bit of, yeah, we'll do that. So that is a, oh, that's not my debug axe. Why would I have 2 axes next to each other? That's 7, good, and that's also 7, so that's 49. So if we do a walls red, and then if we stack that up, 82 or 81. Oh, nope, up. There we are. So that gives us the overall height. I mean, that does include the cupola on the top, so we'll have to cut that down. Proportionally, that's already looking 100 times better than the one next to it. The other one was just so dumpy and fat. So you can see as well, there's this octagonal tower on it, which I think, so that's a 3x5. I mean, it's not small, this tower bit, but we're probably going to use like, it'll probably be this instead, just a 1x, because it kind of sits like that. Or we could even extend it, make it... no, that's the same. No. We've already cut this down quite a bit, haven't we? Definitely needs to extend such that there's one block either side. Ah, and of course, I've already figured out the answer. Does it need to sit further back, is it? Move one to the left. And then, yes, that's the idea. Right. So if we take away that south side on both bits, there we are. That looks much better. So that ultimately goes up, but again, the cupola, this is all both at the top. Okay, so that kind of works. Yeah. What if we debugged the bottom to get rid of the top? Yeah, that could work, and that might even add an extra bit of depth as well. I know people go, "Oh, why don't you use crystal better walls?" I don't mind the bit like this. It kind of works sometimes, and the way I'm going to make it work is we're going to be able to see through to the block behind, which will be the same colour, so it should give it a bit more texture, but that looks a bit rounder now. Okay, right, so we got our shapes in place. Now the question is, how do we do the tower? And there seems to be like a little run around there for the cornice, and then the window starts straight away next to it. Now what I'm hoping is all the windows are the same height. We're going to have a go at texturing this front bit to make it look a bit more like it. So if we do that, and then I'm going to do replace white, which is the white wool, with, I'm going to go with 70% 5.2, which is birch planks, 20%, I'm going to say 12, which is sand, and then 10% stripped birch wood. And the reason I've gone for a bit more of a sand in this one is because, no, I don't think I'm going to do sand. Looking at it in real life, there's flecks of like an orange through it. So if we do that as 20% stripped wood, and then we do the 10% here as, I'm going to say, stripped oak. That gets those flecks in there. Yes, that's nice. And then we get a little bit of pink coming through from the jungle wood. So the way these windows are going to work, I think they're one block wide in the middle. So the idea was these are going to go up all the way. Actually, that's fine. I've built so many windows like this in the past. I'm going to grab that, get that behind. Now I don't know where this window needs to start, but I'm going to have it there. Let's get some building blocks out, coloured blocks. I told you, I'm the one that likes to scroll through it all and make sure I have every block I need. Right, so before we do that, I just want to test this out. I think I'm right in choosing one block wide windows, because if we look at the pictures, what we can see is as it goes up, they get smaller and get more peepholey. So these are bigger, and then these are smaller. Those ones are far away. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 with some very oddly spaced windows. But if we kind of do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's kind of say that's 8, because that's what we've gone with. So I said about 15 blocks, so that's 15, 16. If we say it's 16, the cornice comes back. What's that going to look like? Might be a bit low. So we've got that window and then what looks to be a 1 block, 2 block gap, so maybe there. I don't know why I've chosen jungle planks for the main accent and all of this, but I just like the way it colours well. So that looks to be another 2 block high window with what I'm going to say is another double step on the top, like that. Again, I'm just going to colour up the sides. And then 2 more blocks above that, so 1, 2, there. This is the bigger window, so that looks to be about 4 high, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So now this is where it all comes a bit, it can go all wrong quite quickly. Okay, well, comparing the two now, we're in very different territories, aren't we? Yes, this new one now looks to be coming in slightly shorter in terms of the overall disparate distribution of floors, but that makes sense because I don't think there was any thought put into the other side, but already you can see this one's looking much taller, much spikier, pointier in the archways and the doors, whereas this one still looks, yeah, you know, fat and flabby. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4 windows going up through here. Similar sort of distribution again. It looks like, you know, they're very small windows, so I'm not entirely sure how much smaller I can make these. I might just carry on doing what I've done here, but the ones going up have got a point in the middle, so I don't know how I'm going to make that. So going on this picture here, it seems that this section and this section are about the same height, with this one being perhaps a third of that height. So that's 22, which was more than the 16 I said about. So if that's where the cornice is for that, let's see what that looks like, how much is left. Then if we do 2/3 of 22, which is a number, 15 or 15. Okay, let's see what 15 looks like. And that leaves us with the bit for the cupola. Is that about right? I reckon not. That should be 10. So is that 10 blocks? Have we done this exactly right? That looks a bit more than 10 blocks. It's 11. Oh, we might be okay. I might have actually guessed this. What on earth? That's crazy. So it seems that, you know, even though we've separated it out like this now, the floors are very similar in height. I think they're 1 block off from what the other side was. So it seems that this section here then, if I just remove that, I'm just trying to visualize this a bit better. It's getting a bit hard to sort of see with this big block of red up the top, because this isn't how it's going to look. What I'm going to do for now is just copy and paste these windows up onto the second level. Okay, yeah, that works. And there we are. That seems to be the spacings for the windows on that. Yes, already, you know, you can see this top level just wasn't high enough, so this is only in here at probably 12, 11, yeah. So this being 15 gives that extra bit of height on it, so it's 3 blocks higher there. But yeah, they almost come in level, so it's just a way of making things space out a lot better. I'm really happy I've done the side-by-side comparison there, because it's just so different. Right, well, let me get these window bits sorted, and we'll copy it around to the 3 sides that have them, and then we'll come back and try and figure out this back side. So it would seem from the image here that this looks like it's a double cornice, or at least a lot further out than this one. So we're just going to go around and add this in. I don't think, oh, it just needs to be like that. It will extend, you know, I'll cut it off there. So the inspiration for this apparently is like an Indian temple, mixed with a bit of Italianate in it as well. So I think that's probably where this double thick cornice is coming from. We can always remove it. Didn't have it on the old one. And that just ties back in there. I don't hate it, but I'm not 100% sure on it. So the tower's the next bit, but, well, the cupola. We've already got the tower in. It's this next section, which it's kind of an octagonal with a circle on top. And then there's another cornice. So I think if we come out to the centre, and that's 1, 2, 3 for the roof. Yeah, don't worry, these are going to be trimmed down in a second, or at least sorted out. So we have a cornice around the top there. So let's take this down. I believe it comes in, I always think of this bit as like a hunchback. So I see, well, yeah, I've seen this in real life quite a few times. So it kind of just looks a bit like a hunchback sort of giant. Okay, right, so copied and pasted round the middle sections of these 2 upper bits. I haven't quite got this bit around here yet, I just need to figure out what I'm doing with that. But down here, I believe a window is in order. Now, there probably is a bit on the real building, but I think we'll just copy over actually what we've already done. Remember, these bits are going to be the same colour. So if we just move that one to the right, and do, well, put a bit of red in there. Now with this one we can actually have maybe a wall in the middle at the top. I don't know why I flew way up around there to get the wall. There you go, just a bit of a bigger window there. Oh, this needs to be re-updated. And then we're going to move on to the roof, I think. Yeah, I like that. Bit of a bigger window down the front. So, it becomes very phallic when you look at it like this, but that's just my mind, perhaps. Maybe you weren't thinking the same thing. We all were thinking the same thing. Yeah, that works nicely. Okay, let me just copy this around. So what I was doing for the copy and pasting is taking the corner up there and then coming down and, well, for this one I'm going to have to take it probably one block a little bit higher. No, actually we can do that there. Then I was flying up to the top, and this is just, you know, a good way of doing copying and pasting. You know, if it's something you struggle with, but again, it's a fairly easy process. So you come up to the top, and then you go here, then you do copy, and then we need to rotate it. So rotate -90, and then paste. And that will give us it there. Then if we do another -90 on that and paste it again in the same spot, so you always need to have yourself a little reference spot. Paste it there, and then we get around this side as well. Hey presto, lovely. So we just need to remove this bit here because we don't particularly need it. But you know, I was thinking maybe we could put a little bit of detail around this section actually, but I don't know. You know, it's a few things you just kind of have to play around with a few blocks. I was thinking perhaps like dead coral just through here, so acts as a little bit of a line, adds a little bit of extra depth. Yeah, I don't see any reason not to. Same with down here, I kind of want to, no actually no. I think I'll put that around this side as well. Where I got to earlier was kind of figuring out the height of it. It's quite tall, it's quite slender, it's just a bit hard to see from the ground level because it kind of, I don't know what it does something weird on the ground level. So I'm just going to go up through and perhaps do this. So it kind of, I think this looks reminiscent of what we did over there on the other one. Actually, that's already looking good. So I said earlier, you know, whenever I see this in real life, it reminds me of like a giant, hunchback giant overlooking the landscape. And it's very true. See it most days. And it's a wonderful landscape piece. Monument within the landscape for sure. So what I'm doing here is just going around and building up so we can get these windows in. So there are windows on each corner. I think we just need to make sure that's, oh, it's not even up. Let's put some walls in here. So if we just take that one, follow that all the way up through. So what I've done there is try to make it look like it's a little bit more open for the window at that point. These windows I don't think are filled with glass. Already you can see night and day between the two now with the roof on and the cupola up there, already looking far superior on this side. And it's crazy, it is actually crazy to think, you know, what a few years worth of not building can do, a few years worth of building can do. I say not building, I haven't been building, but you know what I mean. Maybe that will make it a bit rounder up here. I'm just trying out a few things, trying my luck with a few little details. Never be too afraid to try something. Something I wish I told myself a lot sooner in life. And now for the roof. So, are we going? How much height we got left? So we have 1, 2, 3 blocks. 3 blocks to work with, right? And how wide is this roof? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we make a 3-block wide roof? 5? Let's have a look. So we're going to use the hollow sphere tool here. Let's go with blue. Well, actually, let's move up first. So to do the hollow sphere tool, you create, well, so we're going to go with blue and we're going to give it a radius of 3. So we got ourselves a circle, and this here should be 5 blocks wide, 7 blocks wide. How many blocks is this? That's 5. So ultimately all we need is this top bit, which is not too dissimilar to this, is it? Oh, it's just going to need a bit of touching up. Not much more you can do with it. That's the annoying thing with like trying to make a circular spheroid roof. It does work. They do work, and they do look nice. Kind of needs to, yeah. And I've got my trusty andesite slab out again. See, the way it works, the roof, is kind of like it's a bit more... Okay, those walls are definitely doing something. It's not bad, that's not bad. Right, let's move that down. So move 70. I didn't actually have the bit I wanted. Plus 2. Move. Well, we've kept it within height. That's for sure. Oh. Ah, would you look at that? Do you know what? I don't hate that at all. I think that works very well. What would this do? Complicate matters? Yeah, that does complicate matters. I wonder if that block there should also be a wall. Once you start building with walls, you really do find how very useful they are. So I'm just going to go around and try and figure out this for a second. Okay, just try to figure out the final little touches for this now. So what I'm seeing in the image is kind of like, it's a bit bigger on the top here. Although, do you know what? No, I don't like that. Undo 5. Let's bring that back to where it was. Although, I think having maybe this round there might just add a little bit extra. A little bit of extra detail. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, that, well, already, I'm just looking at the one next to it as well. Completely different, completely. Okay, right, so time to do a little bit of a tidy up, put a few little extra bits around here. I want to cover all of the surfaces on the top with this grey carpet, because in the pictures you always see like this lead lining around the top, and so I think this is the most appropriate way to do it. I'll probably do the same in here as well. But that is pretty much the tower done. So let me do a little bit of tidy up, and then we will change the colours and have a look at this in some shaders. So here we have it then. Two versions of Sway Tower. The one on the left from 2020, the one on the right from a few moments ago in 2024. Both in definitely using different versions of styles, blocks and ideas. The one on the left really is not very accurate to the real life inspiration. The one on the right, very much more so. Correctly scaled, I would say, down to a few millimeters. There's been a few design liberties I've taken with it, but overall, I'm very happy with how this has turned out. This is very, very much more like it. The strange building that it definitely is captured now better in this version than the previous one. The hulking giant look to the top cupola with the small little staircase at the side really has been captured here. Captured is the only word I can say multiple times. And it feels much more close to real life. The one in 2020 served the purpose back in the time, but as you can see, it's so wide and wrongly sort of scaled that sections just don't look like right. Like up here, what was going on? It's like, yeah, that window must be 3 blocks high. When in reality, it's actually 6 or 7 blocks high. What's this? This is 6 blocks high. And the same with that one up there. So there has been a few changes, a few adjustments to size and scale, but ultimately, there is only 1 block difference between the top level here. That is at 74 there, and this is at 76, of 2 blocks. But this is ultimately taller, but yeah, a smaller scale to this. A very odd coincidence that has come out from actually rebuilding it. Still, I'm very happy with this, and I hope you guys have learned some bits of information, tips and tricks, and a few ideas on how to build as I've gone through this video, because I don't normally do these, and this has been a very in-depth sort of sit down and discuss what I've kind of made ideas up of. So let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see us again with a few of my other builds, because there's a few older ones that I'd like to refresh, bring up to the sort of level we have now, especially when we go back into the bricks to blocks phase. So let me say thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and remember guys, get inspired, get building, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.